Hi guys, welcome back to the 9th episode of Pixel Flicks. I am your host Brian, and with me as always is Ryan. He's not getting to see his name this week. I'm very tired and I'm looking a bit rough because I stayed up too late last night watching the Oscars. But I want to know, how are you, Ryan?
Fantastic, thanks, Brian. Thank you very much for introducing me and asking. Yeah, I never actually stayed up for it. What time did it go until?
About 4:45, I think it finished at.
Dear. Worth it?
Yeah, it's alright, it was fine. I was watching it with Amelia, so it was quite nice just watching it with her. And reasonably pleased with where the Oscars went in terms of. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really care, but like, you kind of want the films that you like to win things, don't you? Like, sort of thing. So, yeah, quite good.
Yeah. I had a quick nosy. I think that Anora, was that the kind of main winner?
Yeah, great film. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really good. I think I spoke about it last week on the podcast. Sort of like quite interesting because I was saying to one of my mates, we were talking about it on WhatsApp, and I was just like, oh, it's like The Hangover meets Uncut Gems. And literally just as I tweeted that, he tweeted, not tweeted, texted, he was like, oh, it reminded me of Safdie Brothers film. And then obviously Safdie Brothers did Uncut Gems, so it's like I'm not the only person who's getting that sort of vibe from it. So, and obviously, have you seen Good Time?
Yes.
Yeah, do you know like the way Good Time, like it's sort of the way it sort of starts and then it just sort of goes off on one, and it just becomes this like it's just a bit mad. Like I know it's got a bit of that about it, where you're just like for the first 25 minutes, it's like kind of one thing, and then it just goes like a wee bit off the rails, but like in the best way. It's so much fun as well, like really good.
Nice.
So I was alright with that, and the best actress, like Mickey Madison, or Mikey Madison even. Is it Mickey or Mikey? I don't know. It's Mikey. What would that be? Mickey,
I would say.
Mickey.
Mickey Mouse is spelled that way.
All right, there you go. Mickey Madison. She, I wanted either her or that Fernanda Torres to win, so that was good. Anyway, what you been up to?
Not a lot, to be honest. Living life, living the good times. Honestly, not much. Just basically watching Yellowstone. We're getting close to finishing, like, and being up to date and everything. So I want to get through it so I can get onto Andor. And Charlene just wants to. I think she's feeling that we're close to actually finishing a series because we're quite bad for like starting a series or something and then no finishing it. So yeah, we're actually quite close to finishing it. So no, just watching that. Really, that's been about it. I've not really been on the computer much either. Earlier in the week, I was grinding Rivals and managed to get to gold. And after that, I was like, I don't need to do a single thing again on the computer. So yeah, that was me. You?
Yeah. Yeah, not much. I was just say we're bad at. I was gonna say we're bad at finishing series as well, but I'm bad at finishing series. Like, Amelia can finish them just fine. No, not much. We went out on. I was off Friday just because I'd worked a different day through the week and didn't really do anything. Saturday we went to Nottingham. There was a shop that Amelia really likes that had a sale on, so I took Amelia over to Nottingham in the car, and then there was this pizza place called Slice and Brew that we went to, and it was unbelievable, really good. So much so that we're still thinking about it today. Like we tempted to drive back over just for a pizza.
Nice.
And then we watched a couple of films. We had 2 films left to watch, which are before the Oscars for the Best Pictures, which was Nickel Boys and The Brutalist. That's kind of about it. Like not a big weekend as well. Played a little bit of Xbox and whatnot, but not loads. So yeah, that's us. And in today's episode, we're going to, because the Oscars were last night, we're going to do our individual top 10 rankings of movies that never get nominated for Best Picture and should have been nominated for Best Picture, regardless of what anybody else thinks. As long as me and Ryan think it, then it does. Especially if we both have the same movie, it probably deserves to win.
Yeah.
Yes. So get us on the board, please, Academy.
Exactly.
So do you want to do it like a snake draft? No, it's not a draft, but do you want to do it like that? So like, whoever goes first, the next person goes 2 in a row, and then 2 in a row, 2 in a row.
The ABBA formation. Yes.
Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Dealer's choice.
I'm going to get you to go first.
Okay. Just also as well, like I think it's something probably worth mentioning for some of the films as well, if just in case people are not aware, that I had actually forgot about until I looked at Wikipedia for the films. But there was a point when it was only 5 movies that were nominated, and then that changed to 8. Is it, or 10?
It can be up to 10. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. And sometimes there are a few years where you feel like, I think they've just made 10 anyway, when maybe there's 2 or 3 in here that don't deserve to be on the list, but they just think, well, we've got the space. Let's give them a wee nod.
So I think maybe some years could maybe be excused, because I think the early 90s in particular probably had quite stacked years with some bangers that were getting Oscars. So I think maybe some of the earlier years can be excused, but a lot of my films that I've got are from, I'd say the majority of them are 2000s. And when there is, or a lot of the time there is a bigger availability of movies.
All my films are from 2000. I've got one in the 80s and one in 99. There's a wee hint for the one in 99. What came out then? What came out that year?
I think we might have 99 together. So the first film that I clearly had, and we clearly know is from the 65th Academy Awards, was Reservoir Dogs. It was the first introduction, really, I think, probably to everybody for Quentin Tarantino, and set the tone for the films to come from Quentin. From that year at the Academy Awards, you had Unforgiven, The Crying Game, A Few Good Men, Howard's End, Scent of a Woman. I feel like surely somewhere in there, Reservoir Dogs.
I've only seen 2 of those films, and there's one I'd definitely put it over, which is Scent of a Woman. I like Scent of a Woman, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Reservoir Dogs.
I don't know if it's maybe just because of the violence or what it was, but I feel like Reservoir Dogs is maybe the type of film that should.
If it was now, if it's kind of crazy, because Tarantino's at the level now that if Tarantino brought out a kind of subpar film, probably would get nominated for Best Picture. Whereas like maybe some of his stuff that was better. I mean, I tend to like Tarantino films anyway, even the ones that aren't like up there with like the likes of Pulp Fiction and that. But yeah, maybe the language, maybe the violence. You're probably right.
But yeah, that was my number 10. So 10 on the list. If we're going from least to favourite, then 10 would be my number 10. Reservoir Dogs would be my number 10. Do
you have a favourite character in Reservoir Dogs?
No, I don't think so. I love. See, that's the thing. I big Mr. Pink.
That's Steve. Is it Steve Buscemi?
Yeah.
Just like. It's just like Tarantino. It's just the opening scene, and they're arguing about tipping and the like cafe type thing. It's so good.
Yeah. Such a tight film, just mainly confined to that. Is it a warehouse or a garage or what is it?
Yeah, some sort of like warehouse. Yeah, it's almost a bottle episode of TV, isn't it? To an extent, like for the majority of the film.
So yeah, 1992. That was one of my first picks. That when I was having a look at films that hadn't received a Best Picture nomination, I'm a bit confused as to why when you look at what it was up against for that year.
Yeah, like I say, I've only seen 2 of those films, but I'd have it over Scent of a Woman. At the time, the winner was Unforgiven. Clint Eastwood won that year.
Yeah.
Cool. My first film in 1999. So this is for the 72nd ceremony. Best Picture nominations this year were American Beauty, which was the winner, The Cider-House Rules, The Green Mile, The Insider, and The Sixth Sense. And I had The Matrix.
Ooh.
So I did.
How's that not on my
Um,
list? Oh my god.
I think The Matrix not only was an incredible, it's kind of revolutionary at the time as well, and so it was maybe too bold for the Academy back then. Um, they are all kind of like proper Oscar nominees, aren't they? Maybe The Sixth Sense is a bit different for the rest of them. I mean, even The Green Mile actually to an extent because it's quite supernatural, isn't it? But I think The Matrix is incredible, and like I just think um, it stood the test of time for me as well. Like 20, 25 years later, it's still a film that I put on and love and think's incredible. So I'd have loved to have seen The Matrix up there, nominated.
Quite gutted. That should be on my list. I don't have it on my list. I couldn't think of. I get this thing like where it's just like a pure mental block.
Yeah, it's
We,
hard, and
yeah.
there'll be loads of films we're both left out. Do you know what I mean? Because like there's just so many films that probably could have like. There's no reason. It just comes down to preference a lot of time. There's loads of films that could have been nominated. Like I say, just a minor spoiler from my list. I have 4 films from 2018. Like that's just 1 year where I think these all should have been nominated for an Oscar. And I've looked at the list already for 2018. I was like, yeah, definitely have them on there over like my own personal one. So this is the only one. I think this is the only list. Oh, I've seen one of the films. I think this is only where I've hardly seen any of the films. My next film, number 9, is The Shining. Obviously Stanley Kubrick and Jack Nicholson. I love The Shining. I think it's one of my favourite films from before I was born. Especially like just the way it looks. I think it's one of my favourite like looking films, if that's a good enough sentence. It's just such a beautiful, like from the obviously like from the blood coming down the elevator, from the driving up to the hotel. I think my favourite shot is you know when the wee boy's on his wee tricycle thing, and it's following him behind in the camera, and you hear the sound from like going to carpet onto the wooden floor and stuff like that. I think it's just such a beautifully shot film, and it feels like it's like I feel like now you'd be like, oh, that's Oscar bait almost to an extent, like how well done it is. Yeah, it's just a great. Jack Nicholson's great. I'm not sure maybe he was nominated or whatever for that year. I don't know, but personally, I think it's such a solid film. But the other films that were up that year were Raging Bull, The Great Santini, The Elephant Man Tribute, and The Stuntman. Oh, sorry, that's actor in a leading role.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got Ordinary People.
Sorry, Ordinary People, Coal Miner's Daughter, The Elephant Man, Raging Bull, and Tess. Sorry. Maybe wasn't he big time enough back then. What have you got, sorry?
Well, yeah, very, very nice choice on that. Twinsies, because that's what I have for my number 9 also, is
Shining.
The Shining, yes. Yeah, basically just echo a lot of what you say. I think it's one of these films that we can look at a lot of current day movies and see where people have probably drawn inspiration from The Shining. Again, Some of You is probably one of those films that one of the best made films I think that I've seen that's been before my time, and I've not seen like when it's came out type thing, and it's like spawned like so much pop culture as well when you think of things like The Simpsons and all that.
That was my first introduction to The Shining. Like I'd never seen it before until I'd seen that Halloween episode.
Yeah, it's like that and like Cape Fear and stuff. It's like so much we get for Simpsons and stuff like that. But yeah, no, great film. Jack Nicholson is amazing. As I say, I think the use of sound, the use of music, I think it's always as well in like top horror lists, but I don't think of it as a horror. It's maybe more of a thriller to me. But
yeah, 100%. I'd agree with that. Yeah,
don't think I'm ever really scared during the film, but it's very tense and intense, and yeah, just great performances from everybody involved. Even the child actor gets a pass. So, and it's one of those films as well that got me interested in the kind of lore. I don't really remember much, to be honest, because that was when I first kind of discovered the film that I decided to do a wee bit of Googling and reading up on it and stuff. But I remember being quite interested in all the backstory behind it.
Have you seen Doctor Sleep?
Nah, I don't know why I've not.
I'd recommend watching it. It's really good. Like it's not. It doesn't quite. For me. It doesn't get up to like The Shining, but like it's really solid, and it's a bit more. It's a wee bit more fun than The Shining, like because it's a wee bit more like action and stuff like that, and it's a bit more fast paced. But I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. Like I thought I was going into it thinking this is going to be trash. I just don't see like just from the trailers and stuff, but I actually really enjoyed it. And actually one of the nice things about it is like as great as The Shining is, and I love it. I think it's incredible, 5-star movie. You don't see The Shining in it that much, like the ability. Whereas in Doctor Sleep, it's like loads of people are using it. Like it's probably why there's more action and stuff like that, and like more sort of trippy, like a couple more trippy scenes and stuff. Like I'd certainly give it a go. I'd give it a watch.
I think for Doctor Sleep, there's two things that put me off. First was just a sequel to a beloved movie. I always find they can be apprehensive, like going to watch that type of thing in case it has any or marks the original, or I don't know, just it ends up being a waste of time because it's maybe playing off the name. And strangely, the second one, which is something that maybe would normally draw me towards things, was Ewan McGregor. I would have rather there been like a complete unknown in that role, because it was Ewan. I don't know, maybe I would find it harder to connect with that character. But no, 1980 was also for me The Shining. So good choice there, Brian. Good choice.
Yeah, nice. What's your number 8 film?
Number 8 for me from the year 1999 was Fight Club.
Good shout.
Yeah,
so these are right. So we'll get rid of the cider house. Sorry, I'm sure it's amazing.
Yeah.
I've never seen it though, and we'll get rid of the insider.
Yeah,
Michael Mann for
See, I think that is a good film as well because I think I might have seen it, but I was listening to Russell Crowe talking about it a week or two ago, and it made me want to watch it. I think it is meant to be quite a good film, but yeah, it's gone for Matrix and Fight Club. David Fincher is one of these directors that I think has slowly popped up more and more for me. It's been films that I enjoy. I like the tone of his films and the kind of requirement to think in a lot of them and pay attention, and the overall direction of them. They always seem to have like a certain colour palette to them as well, I think, which is kind of important to keeping the tone and all the rest of it. So yeah, great film. I love all the wee kind of mini details, which I'm sure everybody's heard like a million times, but the stuff like with the Starbucks cups and all that, like I love the attention to detail in the movie, and then obviously the acting performances. I think it was one of those ones for me with Brad Pitt that really turned me on to Brad Pitt and made me maybe see him other than a big handsome hunky man to being a proper actor.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched Fight Club. We had rented it on a Sky Box Office. I don't know if Sky Box Office still exists, but do you remember that? Like back in the day, you could like rent films, you'd have them for like however long, and we had it was me and my brother. Now we had like mates round, and we never. After about 30 minutes, we switched it off and thinking this is crap. And I think it's because like there was like 5 or 6 of us in the house, and we were all carrying on, and we weren't actually paying attention to what was going on in the film. And then because you had it for like so many days after you rented it, a day or two later, I was in the house myself and I put it on and watched it. And I just remember like saying to them the next time I saw them, it's just like, by the way, Fight Club's amazing. Like, like I sat and watched it all. It's unbelievable. Like, and just like I think it was just like one of the first times, and I don't know if it's because like we were like, and I would have been like probably about 16 when I watched it because it came out in '99, and then like by the time if it was on Sky Box Office, I maybe been about 15 because obviously like it would have had to. Normally it was about a year after it was at the cinema, wasn't it? It'd come on to Sky Box Office, before it would then go on to Sky itself, and I just remember kind of being blown away by the last 30 minutes, like, and just being like, and so confused as well as to what the hell was going on, like. But just like finding that incredible, and I think it's the first time I can ever remember feeling like that at the end of the film, because I don't think I'd seen like Usual Suspects by that point or anything like that. That I don't think I can't recall anything that I'd maybe seen that had like a really big twist at the end of the film. I just thought it was like the best thing ever. But yeah, right, Brad Pitt's great. I love the bit when he's on a wee BMX in the house and he like cycles into the cardboard box and just flies over the top of the handlebars. Just like,
I feel like it's a film that tricks you in a way into taking on board the bigger ideas of the film because, like, for a lot of people, it's going to be they probably would have saw it at the time because it's a film about fighting and people being in a fight club and all that. But
yeah,
really, it's like a anti-establishment, anti-capitalism
yeah.
movie. So I feel like it's maybe done a good job in what it was trying to achieve because it's drawn people in and then hit them with a lot of stuff that they maybe weren't expecting.
Yeah, definitely. Great show, great film. Really enjoy it.
Thank you, Brian.
Nice one. My number 8, and this is my first from 2018, which was the 2019 Oscars. So nominated that year was Green Book, which was the winner, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, which is never should be nominated for any Best Picture ever. The Favourite, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice. I would have put in there as my first film. Remember, there's another 3 films to go in. If Beale Street Could Talk is a film I would put in there. I think this maybe suffers a wee bit because Moonlight had just won the other year or 2 years before, was it? Whenever La La Land was up for an Oscar. Was it 2017 that?
16.
2016 that?
Yeah.
Moonlight won.
Yeah.
I think If Beale Street Could Talk is incredible. I think it's not necessarily to say it's better than Moonlight, but I think it's good as. Like, I think the story's like heartbreaking and beautiful. The performances are incredible. The score is unbelievable. I just think it's such a beautiful film. And I think Barry Jenkins, like we talked a few weeks ago about how like when you watch a movie of a director and you think, oh, I like this guy, and then you watch that second one and you're like, nah, that's it. Like, this guy puts anything out, and that was for me. That was my second Barry Jenkins film, and I was just like, oh, he just makes these beautiful, like incredible, like sort of heartbreaking romantic stories, and I think they're great. I don't know if you've seen either Moonlight or If Beale Street Could Talk, but how it wasn't nominated, and that's the only thing I can think of is that I know they already got a win for Moonlight a couple of years ago, so we'll just leave this one aside because it is definitely deserving of a Best Picture nomination. Especially Bohemian Rhapsody is an absolute tragedy, man. Like, it's nowhere near good enough to be Best Picture in my opinion. Like in the conversation.
The thing I remember most about If Beale Street Could Talk, which I haven't saw, or Moonlight, was Empire talking about it like all the time. Like they would just constantly be like talking about it and how good a movie it was, and thinking to myself, I need to try and watch that, but I just never got around to it.
And I like Moonlight is definitely like I wouldn't call it Oscar bait, but it's definitely like it's not traditional storytelling. So I think they do something a wee bit different. So like the Oscars really like that, you know. And I think Moonlight is I'm also someone who thinks had La La Land won that year, I'd have been alright with that. I loved La La Land, but I love Moonlight as well. So more than happy with that. But Moonlight's like it's in 3 sections, like so it's someone's life as a kid, a teenager, and an adult, and just how they've changed in those periods. So the storytelling's just not quite. Whilst it is linear, it's not quite as linear as other films. And then Beale Street Could Talk. Honestly, it's so good that all 3 there's like sort of maybe 4 main characters, and they're all so good. Like I say, like the music is. It's probably one of the best scores in recent years, but just got snubbed. Boo the Academy.
I'm just actually going to write these down just whilst we're at it, is because I'm always banging on that we don't have enough films, or that me and Charlene will look at like our watching device to watch films and be like, we don't know what to watch because we've got too much. So I'm just writing these down as
well. My number 7, and this is a film that Amelia introduced me to, which I think is an incredible film, is Pan's Labyrinth. was not nominated for Best Picture. It might have been nominated for Best International Feature at the time. I'm not sure. But again, the winner that year was The Departed, which was everyone says I love The Departed. So Departed's one of my favourite films. So I have no problem with winning, but I think everyone sort of says that was Scorsese's like, oh, you've been great for years. You've done much better films, but here's a here's an Oscar for The Departed. And you've got Babel, however you want to pronounce it, which was very much Oscar bait. Again, I like that film, though. There's some really good scenes in it. Have you seen Babel?
No.
Letters to is it Iwo Jima?
Iwo
Jima, Little Miss Sunshine, and The Queen. I just think, I don't know if you've seen Pan's Labyrinth at all.
I started it and then I think I wasn't quite sure of what type of film it was, if it was a scary or not, because I do like Guillermo, so I really wanted to watch it. And
it's very much Guillermo. It's I think I'd say there's some like moments where you're meant to feel scared, but it's not it's more of a supernatural like monster, and it's more like it's that kind of classic thing of like, oh, there's these monsters and things going about that could seem scary, but it's actually the people that are scary. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're the real monsters. It's obviously set in Franco's Spain as well, where obviously like there's that regime going on. But yeah, it's such a great film. The little girl in it's fantastic, and the monsters are great. Like, see, like there's like a big like tree type monster, and there's like this little, I don't know, it looks like a piece of ginger. It's like a little like there's this little thing in a pant plot. And then there's obviously the sort of famous one that loads of people have seen, but they might not know what it's from. It's like this, like, I don't know, it's this thing, and I think it's like always hungry, and the wee girl goes to see, and its eyes are on its hands and stuff like that. So you don't know if you've seen it where it puts its hands up and stuff, and it's like quite an iconic like creature. But it's just, and I think that's what I liked about it. I think like all the stuff see set to the backdrop of Franco's Spain, like all that stuff's really interesting and fascinating. And I think like I think before I'd seen it, I thought it was just like a creepy kind of horror film, not realising there was so much more to it than that.
Yeah, I've just added it to my list as well because it has been one of those ones that, as I say, I started at one point and I couldn't. Yeah, I think that's maybe why I stopped. I wasn't quite sure the type of film that I was going to get, and for whatever reason I didn't want to watch it. But no, I think that's something me and Charlie would enjoy probably. So
I just think like Guillermo ends up winning for The Shape of Water, which is a film I like. I like the sort of like sort of nods to like classic Hollywood and all that in The Shape of Water, but Pan's Labyrinth is a better film, and he never even got nominated for it.
I'm quite interested in that like period of history as well, because it's obviously like the lead up to Second World War and all the rest of it. So I do like all that stuff. Nice.
Sorry, my wee dog's trying to see me. Hello, pal. So what would your number 7 be?
So this is the first film. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this director comes up 4 times in my list, who I feel's not had enough love. It was from the year 2006 also.
Same year.
So I would also be getting in there The Prestige by Christopher Nolan. Absolutely love that film. I think everything about it, the film itself is kind of like a magic trick, which is like what the whole film's about is magic. Or well, is the kind of face of the film, I suppose. But yeah, great film. Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman. You've obviously got what's his face, the old crony in it. Yes.
Michael Caine. Good in it.
Yeah, Bowie's good in it as well. You've got Gollum, he's in it as well. Good cast.
Yeah, it's good.
Always get this way, Nolan films, but yeah, I think it's a forgotten Nolan film, or when it maybe doesn't.
I think was it in between the Batman Begins and The Dark Knight? Oh no, yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, well,
because The Dark Knight was 2008, wasn't it? So it's probably in between. So I'm wondering if I think that's maybe why it's kind of like
And you had what was the other? There was like another magic film at the same time as well. Had
with
Edward
Ed
Norton.
Norton. What I can't remember, The Illusionist or something. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's the
I
name,
think
but
that's
it
it.
was,
Yeah, yeah. So that
which
thing is.
isn't very good. I saw that. The tragedy is, I saw that one at the cinema
Oh,
and
did you?
didn't enjoy it, and I never saw The Prestige till probably about 2013 or something like that. Watching it on BBC iPlayer, run about Christmas one night by myself.
Well,
I was like, "This
that's
is brilliant! I've never
that's
heard of this film." Like,
probably like what a lot of people have done then though, isn't it? Is they've
yeah, yeah,
probably been the same where they've um, came to it late in the day, and I think it is one that's just um, another movie in Nolan's cap have just been like an amazing film that stands out to me.
yeah.
So yeah, I would like to draw attention
I've got a
to it.
couple of Nolan films on this list.
I think we're going to have some cross wires here. um,
Nice. I didn't expect you to have this one on there, so that's nice. I think you're right. The Prestige is and it's one of Nolan's more fun films as well because of
mhm.
the whole mystery side of it. So, and it's quite fast paced as well, and like, so yeah, it's a really good shout. I like it.
So yeah, 2006. As much as I love Little Miss Sunshine, that's out of there. The Queen, she's gone. I do like letters from Iwo Jima. I have seen that, and I do enjoy that. So I would keep that. So our two films are in, and they two are out.
What you get? I like Little Miss Sunshine though, so I do. I
Yeah,
love
no,
this scene. Like,
I love it. It's
see,
a great film.
what's his name? Oh, that's really terrible. I forgot his name. Plays the Riddler in the most recent Batman film.
Yes,
Paul Dano.
yeah,
The scene when he finds out you can't be a pilot if you're colorblind,
yeah,
and he runs out the van and he just like screams, like such a great scene.
yeah. Great movie.
Cool. What's your number? Was that what was that? That was your
Uh,
number 7.
9, 8, 7. Yes, so 6.
What's your
Also,
number 6?
Christopher Nolan. And we're going the year 2000 this occasion. So
Okay.
we had Gladiator, so fair dues. Chocolat, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'll try and speak right next time. Erin Brockovich and Traffic. So I think that's quite a good year for movies. But I would be.
If you're going to say what I think you'd say, I'd get rid of Traffic. So I would if if you're going to say what I think you're going to say.
I don't mind Traffic. I've not seen Chocolat, but I would get that.
Not as good as the film you're about to say, though, is it? Traffic.
No, which is Memento.
Yeah.
Get Memento in there again. That's. I don't know if I've maybe said this in the pod before, but that was one of the first films that I saw that really made me think about how movies are put together and how
Aye.
like the way the movie's made can just totally mess with your perception of things. The use of time, which is a Nolan thing, or
Yeah.
is you really need to pay attention to the film, and it's one of those ones that makes you want to go back and watch it again because you're like, what just happened? And then you kind of start to piece it all together, and then when you watch it the second time round and you know what's going on, you watch it with a different set of eyes.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Guy Pearce? Yes. I thought he was great in it. He was great performance. Trinity was brilliant in it as well. Aye, and just overall a good story. Also, the use of like the black and white scenes as well to
Just that sort of like flip reverse of a murder mystery type thing as well. It's just like, well, we know who killed him, but you're like, why did he kill him? Is the bigger question this time around. It's so good.
Yeah, great movie. So yeah, 2000. We're taking out. I'm going to take out Chocolat because I've not seen it. So out, and the Memento is in for me.
I remember. I think it was you that put me onto Memento because, like, I know you'd seen it, but definitely seen it before me, and I remember you talking about it like highly. But I think like when I went back to watch Memento, it was just like I was starting to really get into Nolan. Like I loved the Batman films. I loved Inception and stuff like that. And I think I'd already even seen what do you call it? The one he did with is it Zomniac with
Insomnia.
Insomnia with Robin Williams and Al Pacino and stuff, and I was just, I really like this guy, and then I went back and I think like it's a similar thing. Like I was just like when I watched Memento, I was just like, oh, I love this shit. Like I love like geeking out about films and like you say, like how do they all get made? Like how do they shoot certain things? Like how do they storyboard stuff? Like and it's just sort of get started. I guess when I probably around about the time when I was becoming a proper geek for films, like and do you know what I wish they had now and they don't have it anymore? I talked to a boy at work about this. Like, do you remember like? And I used to watch these all the time. Do you remember when you used to buy a DVD and you used to get all the like behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah.
I just like we just miss so much of that now. Because I used to love all that stuff, like the production of things, and Disney brought it back a wee bit with their Marvel stuff, didn't they? Like with when there's a big Marvel film comes out, they'll do like an hour special, which is great. But I'd love to see more behind the scenes stuff and how films are actually made.
I loved the two of them that I loved was Transformers. That I had the Blu-ray that and the behind the scenes and how it was made and everything was amazing. Just like the attention to detail in that first film was incredible, and for me, it's why it stands out compared to all the other Transformer films because I feel like there was just a lot more put into that.
First one's great.
And then the Lord of the Rings ones as well. Like that's like a couple of films worth basically watching those ones.
Well, Lord of the Rings stuff, all the behind the scenes stuff in Lord of the Rings is brilliant.
And you get a sense of their banter as well in all that. I think as well. Like when you get to hear all the wee stories about like how what's his face. Vigo is like turns up to places like and starts getting steaming with all the Maoris and all the rest of it and just good stories.
Next one. What number was that for you? That was number
7, I think.
6.
6.
Oh, was it 7? Oh no, it's 7. You're right. No, 6.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Aye, that was my 6.
So my number 6. Yeah. It's another Nolan film. I've got 2 Nolan films in a row here. And then that's me done with Nolan. I've not had a Nolan film yet, so it's 2014's Interstellar.
Very nice.
I think this is one of his most underrated films. And I think it's one of those weird ones. I think a lot of people who like Nolan in general aren't as keen on this, I feel, than a lot of people who love Nolan. This might be one of their favourite. This might be their favourite of his. And I think it's definitely up there. I think it's so good. I think it loses a lot of people in the third act. But I love all that as well. That stuff doesn't put me off the film at all. I just think it looks incredible. I love all the sciencey stuff, even though I don't understand any of it. I like all the performances, even from people that I'm not the biggest Anne Hathaway fan, and I think she's really good in it as well. Obviously Jessica Chastain, a young Timothy Chalamet, and all the rest of it doesn't really have anything to do in the film, to be fair. Yeah, just great, just a great film, and like I remember watching it at cinema, and like when Matt Damon showed up and being completely surprised. It was like it was quite weird for like a Nolan film to kind of have like it's not a cameo. It's definitely he's obviously an important character in the grand scheme of things, but it felt unlike Nolan just to drop a famous actor on you like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Interstellar. I think it's so good. The music, again, Hans Zimmer is just a bit of the man, and one of the best robots in cinema. Like, see the robot, what's it called again? The thing that looks like a big Kit Kat.
Tars.
It's so good, isn't it? Like, it's such an iconic like robot. Like, it's so good. Yeah, great film. Love it. And I don't know what was nominated. So what was nominated that year was The Theory of Everything. Oh no, I'm reading actors again. I need to go down to Best Picture. Birdman, which won. American Sniper. I'd give it. I didn't think American Sniper was. I like it, but it's not that great. Boyhood, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and The Imitation Game. Selma, The Theory of Everything, Whiplash. Whiplash was good, man.
Yeah.
I'd happily get rid of American Sniper.
Mm-hmm. Never seen it, so
Oh,
I'll get rid of it. That's fine with me. I've heard it's alright, but I've
it's
never seen
fine.
it
It's just
myself.
it's not bad. Like that, I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's not, but I just don't think it's. I think it's the reason it's nominated is because it's like it's about a war veteran. Do you know what I mean? Who ends up like sadly
Yeah.
dying through trying to help other war veterans with PTSD, and so it's kind of like obviously with how patriotic America is as well. Like it was always going to do well, and in that sort of category. But I just think it's an okay film.
hmm Yeah, I would support you in this action. Um,
Nice.
Grand Budapest Hotel. I've seen. It's okay. I wouldn't have that. I
Oh,
would have others ahead of that.
I like the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Imitation Game. I can't remember what one that was. Now. I know it,
That's
but
the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, isn't it? And he doesn't all break the codes for during
right.
World War Two. He plays that. I don't know the gentleman's name,
Yeah.
but he's like a gay guy, and I think they castrate him and stuff like that after it, don't they? It's quite horrific what they did to that guy, and like how he's like integral to winning the war for us, and then they just treated him like crap because
hmm
he just because he liked men instead of women, which is really awful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 100% for Interstellar. It does feature on my list, but it is not yet. Um, it's one of my favourite films of all time. I think it's for me probably my favourite and what I think is the best sci-fi film ever made. I think just the things that it tackles, whilst being very grounded with everything in it, like the science behind it and some of the probably the real things that humankind will need to overcome at some point in the future with
Mm.
food and all the rest of it. Like I think a lot of people forget about all the earth element of it. That like it doesn't take much for our fragile world to be changed and altered, and our way of life to completely change. So, yeah, I love everything about this film. All the acting performances, again, as just mentioned quite a lot. The kids in these type of films usually annoy me, but everybody was great in this. And the story's amazing. I'm same as you. Anne Hathaway, I can take or leave, but I really like her in this. Her wee speech about love, or the
Mm.
love, like basically transcending time. Uh, is great. As you say, the things with Tars and the humour that he brings to the film as well.
Yeah,
That was like when I mentioned a recent pod that me and Charlene watched it, and that was one of her big takeaways was she loved Tars.
who doesn't
So
love Tars though?
I know he's so good. I agree with you. I think probably it's pushing people in terms of their interest levels with the first two acts and how sci-fi it is. But then when you get to the third and you get to like the fifth dimension and all that type of stuff, or fourth dimension, whatever one it is, you're maybe losing a lot of people. But for me, it like I remember getting the Blu-ray and watching it at home. Like I went to the cinema and everything, seen it. Then obviously once I had a bit more time to sit and actually analyze it, um, like going down a rabbit hole of like all the different dimensions and how they look, and it just got me really intrigued in how, again, what we think our world is and how much bigger everything else probably is outside of it. So yeah, it's a massive film for me. Absolutely love it, and I condone your use of removing American Sniper for Interstellar.
Thanks.
In fact, and I would give it the Oscar and remove Birdman. Not
Yeah, I
remove
like
it from this,
Birdman as
but
well though, so I did.
I did, but it's not Interstellar.
My next film, my number five, is another Nolan film, and it's the first of three superhero films to be on this list.
Okay.
The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight's incredible. I think it's one of my favourite films of all time. It would be in my top 10 films of all time, I think. Obviously, Nolan's Batman trilogy tries to ground the superhero genre as much as you can, like because it's not grounded at all when you actually step back from it. But like compared to what else is out there at the time, if you compare it to like another great superhero film that was out that year, Iron Man, the tone of the two films are very different. Obviously, gives you, in my opinion, still by far the best Joker, live action Joker anyway, that we've ever had. I don't think, even though, and obviously Heath Ledger won an Oscar for it, and I know Joaquin Phoenix later did, but I don't think Joaquin Phoenix even gets close to Heath Ledger in my opinion. I just think it's great. Just like the action's great. Just that opening scene with the bank robbery is just, it's so iconic. Like everything. Yeah, I just love it. Like just all the imagery from it. And obviously Nolan's films all look great, don't they? And I think like he has the best looking superhero films. And I'm a sucker. It's my wheelhouse. These films are made for me and people like me. And I even look at the winners. So like that, the best pictures that year were Slumdog Millionaire, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Frost / Nixon, Milk, and The Reader. I like Slumdog Millionaire, but like I feel like Danny Boyle has a. I think he makes a lot of films that don't age well. Like his style. Like I don't know if you've watched Slumdog Millionaire recently. Like the way it's like the way it's edited and stuff and cut, it's quite jarring. Like, and I love Dev Patel, who's in Slumdog. He's probably one of the most underrated actors in my opinion. I think he should be in both. I was saying to him the other day, I was like, how's he not more famous? I think we saw him on the BAFTAs. He just was like in the crowd. And I was just like, he's actually incredible acting, and he's really handsome. He's like, it's exactly what people want, like, and for the film stars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love The Dark Knight. I think it's so good. It will always be up there for me.
Nice.
And I think also like the Batman films were my introduction to Nolan. Really, like I might have seen something of his before I watched them, but without really knowing who I was watching. I think for me, when I first watched the Batman films, it was more the Christian Bale's Batman than it was Christopher Nolan's. And obviously, like, I guess, I don't know, being more educated and more aware of movies these days, like, it's Nolan's Batman, isn't it? No one says Christian Bale's Batman. It's always Nolan's.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian Bale's Batman might be the worst thing in those films. His Bruce Wayne is excellent, but his Batman is a bit.
I liked his Batman.
It's
And
just so hard to understand at times.
I'm a defender of Christian Bale's Batman. I very much enjoyed him. And as you say, the Bruce Wayne side of things, he was good.
But Bruce Wayne is great. He's in the. I think this is the first one when he's like in the wee like water fountain and stuff like that, and just like pretending he's drunk and stuff. Like all very good. That stuff. Love it. I don't like his cowl though in the Nolan films.
Okay.
He's got he looks like he's got a tiny wee head. Like he's just like silly. But I love it. I love The Dark Knight. I don't know how you feel about The Dark Knight.
I love it. As you say as well, it was one of those ones I think it felt like because all the superhero stuff was really starting to ramp up at that point, and I feel like this was like the first real kind of acknowledgement of anything comic booky or whatever, and it took Nolan doing something, as you say, a lot more grounded. I love all the tech and how that's all kind of grounded in like real life stuff and all the military kind of applications that this type of thing had, and the Tumblr, and yeah, just so much about
the Tumblr, man.
So good, so much of it. Again, I saw something like that the other day. I'm not sure if it was on YouTube or what it was, but they were just talking about the design and the construction of the Tumblr and what they had to go through to actually produce it, and just as a like, again, feels like these sometimes movies and these type of things produce other things accidentally, but it's like I feel like that's like such an amazing vehicle just in general as well, never mind just like for a movie prop or whatever it was. Yeah, anyway, that's a side note. Amazing film. I love everything about it. As I say, it's a Nolan film. I do have The Dark Knight on my list also, so it's still to be revealed.
Nice.
But yeah, I loved.
What else have we got? I think there's at least
the,
another 2 films. Is that 2 we've both got?
So we both had The Shining. We both had.
Did you have Interstellar?
Yeah, Interstellar. Yeah.
And The Dark Knight. And I think there's at least another 2 we've both got.
Probably, I would say so.
Interesting. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is another David Fincher film, 2007. So we had that year. No Country for Old Men was the winner. Atonement, Juno, Michael Clayton, and There Will Be Blood. So there's at least 2 there that I would say probably are worthy of their positions. But one that I feel that I always talk about, it's my rainy day film, and I think it's like a cult film probably more than anything, is Zodiac. Absolutely
Zodiac.
adore Zodiac. It's
Get rid of Juno. Like, I like Juno, but Zodiac's much better than
the texture of this film, the way it feels, it's eerie. It's at points there is, like I think we've mentioned before, like there is a scary element to some parts of this film, like when you've got the Zodiac watching the couple on the wee beach, like that's creepy as, and then the bit in the basement with the other guy.
It's like I think we spoke about this like back in the movie podders with Robbo, and it's like reverse horror.
Yeah,
because he's like in the light and then he switches it off and it's such a chilling scene that sort of is like. Is that what you were going to say? Sorry, like just butted in there.
I know. I saw that. That stuff there, like it's all creepy and all like it brings like a layer of something you weren't expecting. I think because you're watching this film that's about like a serial killer, and I don't think you really, in a way, expect some of these scenes to just appear and happen the way that they do. And like the beach one's quite brutal when he appears.
And like obviously you get Gyllenhaal, Downey, and Ruffalo in it, and I think Gyllenhaal and Ruffalo in particular are great in this film. Downey's great. Downey as great as he is, he's always kind of the same character in there somewhere or another. Maybe other than recently in Oppenheimer, but like there's always a wee bit of Downey in his characters, isn't there? Which is fine. And I really like Robert Downey Jr., but I think Gyllenhaal and Ruffalo in particular in the Zodiac are really, really good. And the big guy, see the big guy who is like I think is the killer, like the one where he go and he's something really menacing and I don't know if it's his size as well, so like which makes him even more terrifying. But he's really good. He's so cold and sort of like no emotions or anything like that as well, isn't he? Like he's good.
And I feel like there's like a certain level of smugness to him that he knows.
Aye.
That
he's getting away with it.
But they can't stick him with it.
Aye.
Yeah, just amazing. Again, the direction of it I thought was great as well. And just playing with like real life history as well, I think was great. And I loved all the stuff as well, like with the puzzles and learning about like codes and all that as well. I remember, I'm pretty sure it sent me down like a wee journey of like wanting to be a code breaker and stuff like that. So, amazing film. It's one of these ones that I think when you speak to people like, oh yeah, I know about Zodiac, but like, do they really know about Zodiac? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So
just like on the other films that were nominated that year, you're saying you're making a list of films you should watch. No Country for Old Men you should add that to your list because I know you've not seen it.
I did. I saw it recently.
Oh, did you?
It was alright. It was good.
Right, it was okay. Alright, it's brilliant.
It was alright.
You're alright.
I
love No Country for Old Men.
I think I maybe had to watch that in parts, so maybe I need to sit down from start to finish and watch it. But I like Brolin in it. I really enjoyed Brolin.
Yeah, he's good.
I enjoyed him.
Javier Bardem's brilliant in it, though. Is that sort of
stoic character?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my number 5. Yeah.
I think
number 4.
Your number 4 is
4. We have spoken about is The Dark Knight. So that's an easy one to move on from.
Great film. That means we've both picked it. So that means that The Shining, Interstellar, and The Dark Knight definitely need to be included. And there's 2 more films that are going to get nominated as well. And I think this might be one of them. My number 4. I think you're going to have both these films. My next 2. My number 4 is Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Welcome, Jurassic. And obviously, I know why this wasn't nominated. I don't think there's a world that this ever gets nominated. This is a film that I've seen so many times. It has so many flaws in it that is probably uncountable. But I think it's just, I don't know. It's just like the the Martin Scorsese like meme. Like, this is cinema. Like,
Yeah.
it really is though. Like, it's just
Yeah.
pure blockbuster. Like, especially when you're wee. See, when you're a wee boy or a wee girl, I think this is why you go to the cinema, is to see things like this. Like, and it's just like, I think the fact that it's so beloved, and I don't think it's just a nostalgia thing. I think it's genuinely a great film in terms of, like, I think there's great little horror moments in it. I think the characters are really fun. The action's really fun. It moves at such a nice pace. You don't get too much dinosaur too soon. Like, if anything, you're a bit disappointed by the lack of dinosaur in the first 30 minutes or 40 minutes of the film, because you kind of gets teased a lot. I just think it's brilliant. It's one of my favourite films of all time. I mean, if someone asks me what my favourite film is, I always say Jurassic Park. It's maybe not necessarily true, but like, for a while it was my favourite film. Like, from when I was like 8 until when I was like in my 20s, so it was easily my favourite film. I love it. And then Spielberg already got nominated that year for Schindler's List, which definitely going to get nominated. The Fugitive was nominated, In the Name of the Father, The Piano, and The Remains of the Day. I've never seen The Remains of the Day, so that can get to putting Jurassic Park in there. I haven't even heard of Remains of the Day, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I just love Jurassic Park. It just makes me happy. Like, it's just an incredible film.
Yeah, I think it always seems to be the case when you look at these lists as well. There's always like one or two you're like, I don't really know if I have watched that film, if I've ever watched it again, or ever heard anybody talk about it again.
Yeah.
And I feel like that should be a factor in the decision making about a lot of these films. Is like, well,
does it stand the test of time? Like,
exactly.
And because like, it's all genres do as well. Like, you can get really art house stuff, you can get really like sort of wanky stuff, and like blockbuster stuff, and like, if like all genres can like pass that test of time as well, can't they? Where people are still picking them up 10, 15, 20 years later and thinking, oh, I love these films, or even like 50 years later, which I'm sure will be the case with some of the films.
Yeah, well, even if you look at like that year, like, as much as I like Schindler's List, I don't know if I've ever seen it recently. Fugitive, again,
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it recently. 94, you've got Forrest Gump was the winner. That was just on the TV for me the other day there, and I sat and watched the rest of it because it was on. It was really enjoyable. Pulp Fiction would be a film I would probably go out my way to watch. Shawshank would go out my way to watch. So I feel like these are all films for me.
Forrest Gump would have been the following year for the Oscars. They would have all been the following year.
Yeah, that was 94, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Those are just examples of films that I think are all worthy because they do stand.
I don't think Forrest Gump's as good as what people think it is.
As I say, I sat and watched it. It was, I think somebody had the Sky Movie channel on, and it happened to be on, and I sat and watched it and enjoyed the remainder of it.
Don't get me wrong. I think some people have done a full 180 on it and think it's terrible. I also don't think it's a terrible film. I just don't. When I watched it again, I mean, it would have been a couple of years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember enjoying it quite as much as I did when I was younger. You know what it is? I think I've since read a book. There's a book called The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out a Window and Disappeared. And it's kind of like Forrest Gump. I think it was written after Forrest Gump was out as a movie, but it's kind of that. Do you know that way? Like, you've got this character. Now, he's not quite as obviously the Forrest Gump character. There's like, the movie certainly hints that he's maybe like got some sort of disability, both obviously first physically and then also mentally as well. But Forrest Gump seems to have like touched all these really important moments in history. Like, I mean, that's kind of like the film 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out a Window and Disappeared. He does that as well. It's about this old guy who's like I say, he's on his 100th birthday. He's in a nursing home, and he just decides, oh, I'm fed up. He jumps through the window, then he runs away, and he goes on to this adventure. But as he's on this adventure, it goes back to all these moments he has in history, and again, it's like anything important that happened, this guy was there, but he's just so like kind of like Forrest Gump, a bit blasé about it. Doesn't really impact him, and I just think that book and that story does it better than what Forrest Gump does it. I don't know why, but I feel like that's my Forrest Gump now. I think it's that book. I think they've made a film, but I've not seen it. But it's a Swedish author. I think it's translated into English.
Fair enough. Well, just on Jurassic Park, that is on my list. It's one of my favourite films of all time. I remember seeing it at. It was one of the first things I did when I moved to Irvine. I'm pretty sure was going to see it at the Magnum.
Nice.
I know. Probably too young.
The Magnum.
To
I've not seen it. Maybe you could watch films at the Magnum.
Aye.
That's nuts, isn't it?
And then
I feel like the big epicenter of Irvine. Like,
I know, I miss the Magnum.
yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Saw Godzilla in there one time. Like, saw Godzilla with like Bryden, this a guy called Kevin Simpson. I don't know if you'd have known him. He's a year below us at school, and my brother. And like halfway through the film, like Bryden and my brother got bored, and they were just like, there was only like us four and like maybe two other people in there. And Bryden and my brother, I don't know if Bryden will remember this, but they were running about down the bottom of the screen pretending to be like a big dinosaur, like when we were watching Godzilla, just being idiots. And I was getting annoyed because like I love Godzilla, like I love stuff like that, but they were just like, this is crap.
Aye. I love Jurassic Park. I feel like it should have probably. Again, I've not seen the remains of the day, so get it out my list.
I just think in the 90s they're not. I think also the fact that Spielberg's nominated the Best Picture Schindler List is on there already, and then also think like, Schindler List is very much an Oscar film. Like, I mean, World War II, they all love a bit of that at the Oscars. But also, I just think like big giant dinosaurs, CGI and animatronic dinosaurs was never going to get nominated for an Oscar, and it's a crime.
Aye.
It's an absolute crime. Dinosaurs should always be nominated for Oscars.
It's because it was a game changer for like CGI and all that as well. It changed the face of how films are made, and again, we've probably films like Lord of the Rings and all that feel the impact of the strides that Jurassic Park made, and yeah, love it. It's a blockbuster movie, and it's better than whatever Remains of the Day is. So get it out and get it
in. So my next three films, obviously my number 3 will do next, but they're all from 2018, which obviously must be the best year of cinema ever, in my opinion, at least. I didn't realise I felt that strongly about.
I know what one of them's going to be, but I can't think what the others are going to be. So.
I think you won't be surprised when you hear what mine's are. I think one of them you maybe just didn't know that's the year it was, but you'll have heard me talk about it. And then I think the other one you'll be like, oh yeah, that is a good film. That's a fair shout. But again, Bohemian Rhapsody's in there. I don't know if we'll get rid of that. I don't know what we can get rid of next. Vice. Let's get rid of Vice next. Infinity War. And obviously, like, I don't know how this, like, and obviously I need to go back to, like, it's better than Green Book that won. I don't care what anybody says. Like, Infinity War is a better film. Like, I know it's all subjective and all the rest of it, blah blah blah. But I think it's incredible. And obviously, we are invested in that world. We went to see everything. Like, the amount of times we went to midnight screenings, way before Infinity War came out. The amount of times we've watched the films over and over again. Like, when Captain America came out, I remember Winter Soldier, we went and watched the double bill to watch the first Avenger before it, and probably did the same with Civil War as well and all the rest of it. And so we're so invested, we were and we are so invested in that world. But I just think it's such a great film. It's one of the best villains ever. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Thanos is just incredible. Like, and I think the fact that there's so many characters in that film, and I think the Russo brothers, and you can criticise their work they've done since they've done Endgame. It's not, their work doesn't seem to be that great a standard. But the way they give so many characters in that film all a chance to shine is kind of incredible, actually. And it doesn't, so much of it doesn't feel forced or just chucked in there just for the sake of it. It all sort of feels kind of earned. So much so that the characters that you think are going to be big characters in it, they've left some of them out. Like, obviously, like Chris Evans' Captain America doesn't have that much to do in Infinity War, and he's one of the biggest characters. Probably up until that point was the second biggest character in the MCU. And then what they did do, and it's great, is they brought like Thor becomes a more prominent character, and probably the arguably joint lead with at least. But Thanos is the lead, but do you know what I mean in terms of the hero side of things with Iron Man? Like, it's brilliant. I love it, and it should have been nominated.
Yes, wholeheartedly agree. Also on my list, yeah, Infinity War was like a game changer. It's one of those ones, like the culmination of 10 years or whatever it was of films. And we've never really had anything like that before, and I don't know if we ever will have anything that builds to such a crescendo of like connected stories coming together. And as you say, I think I've probably not got much more to say in this because I think you've said everything that I would say about it as well. Like, one of the things that stands out is how they managed to get everybody screen time and give everybody meaningful screen time, and not just be a waste of time, basically. A menacing villain, but one who is, again, one of our greatest villains, I think. The CGI, again, I think
Thanos looks incredible.
Yeah, so good. It's like I think he is. It's one of these ones you do forget he is like a real person in it.
Yeah.
A film as well with stakes because ultimately, spoiler, everybody loses at the end of the film. So there's real stakes there. There's real emotion. Yeah, it has a sign in it that says we will deep fry your haggis. So
yeah.
therefore,
So yeah, there you go. Like,
therefore it wins.
yeah.
Best picture. This is cinema thing again. Aye, no, it's so good, and obviously we're biased because we like the MCU, but specifically Infinity War, like Endgame's amazing as well, but specifically Infinity War for what that film achieved
Yeah.
and the pacing of it and everything as well. That's one of the things I always talk about that film is from the start, it's going, and it just doesn't stop the whole way through. There's no real lull. They talk about these. I think Kermode and Mayo talk about like when's a good time to take a break during a lot of these type of films. I don't think there's like any real good time because it just keeps going the whole way.
I don't know why you'd want to take a break during the film. I think it's so good.
Just pee yourself.
Yeah. Put a nappy on. Yeah, so that's my 4 and my 3. So what's your 3 and 2? Oh, and so I mean we've discussed everything that was nominated that year because this year's coming up a lot.
So my 3 is Infinity War.
There you go, perfect.
So perfect. So yeah, as mentioned, amazing, and comparing it against the nonsense of Bohemian Rhapsody, get it out.
Have you seen it?
No, I've seen clips, but
it's such a wet blanket, man.
Yeah, I've heard it's no. I saw the wee bit when they come out about the come up with, I think it's We Will Rock You and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh no, it's cringy to watch, I think.
I don't think I'll give it its props. The last 20 minutes or 25 minutes is the performance at Wembley, and it's sort of like, and that's really cool. I was at IMAX when that, and that was good, but other than that, nowhere near good enough to be nominated for anything.
I feel like, just on Bohemian Rhapsody, I feel like that's a film that could have been so much better because I feel like there's a lot of material there probably to be mined, but from what I understand, Queen were quite protective of some of the bad stuff. It was so tame
though. It was so, like, obviously you knew Freddie Mercury had this crazy life and crazy lifestyle, and it just felt a bit like watered down. Whereas like the following year, like Rocket Man comes out about Elton John, and they went down like a musical route, like instead of like a traditional biopic. And I think Rocket Man is 10 times the film that Bohemian Rhapsody is, and that's another film that wasn't nominated. But it showed you how messy Elton John's life was, though. Do you know what I mean? And that's what people are tuning in for. That's like,
they want the drama,
of course.
Oh yeah, sorry. So number 2 for me was Interstellar. So we can
Nice.
move on as well. But yeah, as I
Sorry,
said,
I'm stealing all your.
I
I know what your
know,
number one is now as well.
I know. Aye, no, it's as I said, it's one of my favourite films of all time. And I love sci-fi, and I love things that get like into the nitty gritty of sci-fi. So yeah, ticked a
Yeah,
lot of boxes for me that one.
and then
So
just
what's your number two, and then your number one?
number two is again from 2018. This is number one, but is Into the Spider-Verse for number two.
Good shout. Yeah.
I think it
Yes.
might be the best superhero film ever made. I think it's the best Spider-Man film ever made, and I know a lot of people are Peter Parker fans. I love Peter Parker. Peter Parker's incredible, but I feel like Into the Spider-Verse really captures like for me, good Spider-Man, and I think, to be fair, I think all the live-action films have done this to an extent. Needs to have a lot of heart in it. Like you need to like really root for either Peter or Miles, whoever's in the suit at the particular time. They need to have a sort of like almost for me like a little bit of an innocence about them. Like they just think, oh, the world can be a better place, sort of thing, and like I'm like in sort of defiance of like I can help regardless of what people tell me I can't, sort of thing. And like I just think it's done so well, and I think the fact that they've done a multiverse film and they've done two now, and they're both brilliant, and live action films have tried to replicate that, and they can't get anywhere close to it. And I appreciate that animation's a different medium, and so there's more you can do with it, and that might make that storytelling a little bit easier. I'm not sure, but I think it's brilliant. Like I think the story from start to finish, the voice performances, the music, the score, the soundtrack, like the action, it's just brilliant. I love it. I do think it's my favorite animated movie of all time, and I think Gilmiro spoke about this at the Oscars one time, how animated movies in general get a bit disrespected when it comes to Best Picture, and sort of get just put, oh, that's a kids' film. We'll put that in its own wee category of Best Animated Film, but I would have this in there probably over everything that's in the Best Picture. Like I think it's just outstanding.
Yeah, that's a fantastic shout, and probably in hindsight, I would have to amend my list. I think to get that and the Matrix in there because yeah, amazing. I think you mentioned there the animation style was one of the things that I remember quite clearly about seeing it the first time and how intricate it was and how faithful to like a lot of the comic book stuff it was. And then yeah, all the character um, beats that you've mentioned to do with Miles, that was great, and his family life and yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic film. And I love one of my favourite sequences or scenes in it is the bit where they go to wherever Doc Ock is. I can't remember the name of the lab or whatever, but they go there,
yeah,
and just that whole sequence where he's trying to teach Miles how to kind of be a Spider
swing.
Man, and then the bit where he goes invisible and. I always love the bit where he's sort of like trying to pick up the PC and he's saying to him, "You don't need the keyboard and monitor or whatever." It's like all that stuff. It's just like stupid,
but
simple things. And
I
then
think that
you get like the moment where he's thwipping through the forest and he
aye.
starts to get to it, and then Spider Gwen appears, and yeah, just really just a fantastic film. Yeah,
But
amazing.
going back again to what we were talking about earlier, like when you watch Memento, and you start to become like a geek about films, and it's like when you watch the stuff with Spider Man, and the fact that like when they're swinging at first, like Peter B. Parker is at 24 frames per second, and Miles is at 12 frames per second to make him feel like more clunky and
Yeah,
stuff when he's swinging. It's just like these little things that you don't necessarily notice that the frames per seconds are out, but you know that he doesn't look as good doing it, and just like so many little choices that are just brilliant, and like the animation
yeah,
style, like you said. I remember, I think we did movie podders at the time, and I remember watching the trailer, and I definitely was just like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this animation, and kind of being a bit like, I was like, sometimes it looks good, sometimes it looks a bit rubbish, and but then when I saw the film at cinema, being absolutely blown away by the animation,
yeah.
like. Yeah, great film. Love it, love
Great
it.
pick, Brian. Great pick.
And then my number one, and I've mentioned this, and this is only the ninth episode. I might have mentioned this film every week. Is Shoplifters, um, from Karida. I think it's just one of the best films I've ever seen in my life. I remember watching it, and I remember like it's kind of similar to what you were saying about like when if Beale Street could talk, you like heard Empire talking it. It was. I listened to Films to Be Buried with Brett Goldstein, and in the year that was out, a lot of people were bringing this film out. I've just seen this film, and Brett Goldstein was raving about it and stuff, and just heard more. It might have come up on Empire as well, and I thought I better watch this, and I just sort of been blown away by this film that talks about class in Japan and how that impacts on different people, and it's just this sort of like beautiful little story that's actually a terrible little story in a lot of ways, but you don't realise that. You think it's something beautiful, but actually, at the end of the film's just like, is this beautiful? Like, should this have happened? Like, and it's just great. I think Parasite is a worthy winner. Like, Parasite was it was either the following year or the year after. I can't remember. But like, it's almost like this walked so Parasite could run in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this should have been nominated. I'm not even sure if it should have been nominated for best foreign. Yeah, it wasn't even nominated for best foreign language film, which just baffles me. Like, and obviously I've not seen other. I've just looked at that list. I've not seen those films, so I'm not going to comment and say that they shouldn't be in there. But
just get them commented on. Say no.
Just other than the fact that I've seen plenty of the films that were English speaking films in Best Picture, it definitely deserved to be in there ahead of. I mean, I prefer it to all those films, so I'd have it at number one. But there's some films obviously Whiplash is nominated. I'm more than happy that Whiplash was nominated because it's fantastic. But yeah, Shoplifters, I just think it's just this incredible. Creed does like. Broker as well that came out. I've got Monsters on my list to watch, which is his most recent film. Just seems to do kind of like Bong Joon-ho. Like they have this theme of class throughout their films, and I think I don't know if I mentioned it before. I feel like Japanese and Korean cinema they do the grey really well. And I think like in Western films, it's very much like, oh, here's your good guy, here's your bad guy. And you don't really have to decide for yourself. Whereas I think like in sort of Eastern cinema, it's very much just like, here's a group of people, and I think I've said this before, but here's just a bunch of characters. They're all flawed, and you make up your own mind, like how you feel about them. I'm just going to show you them. You then get to decide if they're good people or bad people, and I really enjoy that storytelling. It just makes it a wee bit more complex, I think, and I really like it.
Nice. Very nice. I've added that to the list of things to watch. I might watch that one myself. Yeah, I've never seen that, but I've always heard. I think we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Like, we heard good things about it. So yeah, definitely need to watch that. So in that case, and just because you've got quite a lot of 2018, what does your 2018 look like if you include those films? So Vice is the film that was about Dick Cheney, and it was...
get rid of that. Vice is gone.
Star is Born. Bradley Cooper. Gaga.
I get that gone as well.
Roma.
I've not seen Roma. I heard good. I think I'd like Roma, if I'm being totally honest with you. Get rid of Bohemian Rhapsody. So Bohemian Rhapsody is gone. Star is Born's gone. Vice is gone. I'd get rid of Green Book as well.
Really?
I would. Aye. I like Green Book. Green Book's good, but I just don't think it's on the same level as those other. In my opinion, I just don't think it's as good as those four films I said.
So Shoplifters wins it that year for you then?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's just a better. I think overall it's just a better film. I think Infinity War and Spider-Verse are more fun films than Shoplifters. I just, you know, when you just fall in love with something as soon as you watch it for the first time, like, and it's like, it's not even like once the main thing happens very early in the film, it's just about these people living their life. It's not like there's no complex storyline or plot or anything. It's just you're just watching these people live their day to day, and it's a very humble lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? They don't have much, and just watching them and how they love each other and how they care for each other, there's just something kind of beautiful about it. And then, like I say, you get to the end and you're like, shit, that's wrong what they done. Like you kind of like, I just love the way it can make you forget about what they've done at the start of the film, and just like, and almost not have a problem with it as well. I just think it's really, really interesting.
Enough. Fair dues. I would keep A Star Is Born in that lineup. I quite like that film. But never seen Black Klansman, so take it or leave it.
Really good. You should put that on your list. That's really good.
Never seen The Favourite. Never seen Roma.
You're not the biggest Black Panther fan, are you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I like Black Panther.
I don't think
it's as good as Infinity War, but it's good.
I don't think I'm up on it as much as most other people are. I think that's the thing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is in my top 10 MCU films of all time. Black Panther, I do. I think it is really good. Subtracting the CGI fight at the end of Black Panther, like the fight with him and Killmonger does not look good.
Well, my final film, which if you've not been counting and you haven't already worked it out, is Jurassic Park. And as we mentioned, I love it, and it ticks many boxes for me, and it might be nostalgia or whatever, I don't know, but it's still a film that I will actively put on. I will watch if it's on. I look for like wee memorabilia things. I look for like things that I can have in the background there that's Jurassic Park related. Yeah. I don't actually think I've got anything Jurassic Park related this year.
There's a wee glass behind me. What's that doing there? No, I don't have any Jurassic Park stuff here. Lots of Spider-Mans. There's a Miles Miles Morales right there, and a bunch of other Spider-Man.
I've got a
Spider-Man picture.
Jurassic Park is my number one.
Nice. Love it. Great film.
Yes.
That was good. 5 films we had the same.
Yeah, I did think we
which
might
either
have
means
a good
that
few.
Either means that we're so in tune and we are just right. We're just categorically right, or we're basic. One or two.
I think we're right for each other, Brian. I think that's the right answer.
Yeah. Me too. So, that was good. Don't know what we're going to do next week for the pod, but we'll think of something. But before we go, Ryan, what have you been watching? What have you been playing? I know you've been watching Yellowstone, but have you watched any films? Played any games?
I don't think I've watched. As I said, that Forrest Gump was on, so I happened to watch a wee bit of that. I can't think of another thing I've watched other than Yellowstone. It's basically been that and EastEnders. So that's been the extent of it. And playing Rivals, playing Skyrim. That's my gaming activity.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing else comes to mind. You?
This week I just played Avowed. I played a bit of Rivals and Fortnite with you, and I was in a right mood the other night. Was it Friday night we were playing? I think it was Friday night, wasn't it? Or Wednesday night or something. Whatever night it was, I was in a right mood whilst we were playing. I was just like, I don't know if it's because I was tired or it wasn't going my way, but I wasn't in the best mood playing. Played some Avowed, streamed it. I had this really annoying person come into the stream and wind me up.
I had such a good time doing that. Honestly, it was like, do you know, it started off just like, I'm gonna go in and just watch them, and then I could see you were like quite into it, so I remember the sound alerts, and you looked annoyed with the first one that I played. I was like,
honestly, I had it up full blast, so it was so loud. So that's why. And then when the second one went off, I was just like, because I hadn't got around to turning it down. It wasn't like the fact that it would do. Because once I turned it down, it was fine. It was just that the first few, they were so like, it was so loud in my head. I was just like, this is awful.
Oh, so good. And then doing the farting and stuff. It's like pure
schoolboy
stuff, but.
There's one fact, like, because I don't even notice. There's one that made me proper chuckle. Like I just kept laughing at it. It's just, no, I was enjoying it. So you ruined it. It's just doing a bunch of side quests, like getting them all done, because you've got to do. I think one of my gripes with games is like when games force you to do side quests, in order to be able to level up. And like I said at the beginning of the pod, like I wanted to watch all best 10 picture films before the Oscars, and so we had 2 left to watch. So we watched Nickel Boys, which is good. It is good, and it's quite a harrowing story. But talking about like the design and how it was filmed, it's a first person point of view, and then at times it switches to like a third person over the shoulder type thing.
Right.
And I just
Okay.
found it took me out the film quite a lot. But there's some really good like visuals in it. There's some really good, really like hard hitting scenes and stuff. And overall, the story is really like, not sure good's the right word, because the content of the story is, like I say, it's really harrowing. It's really sad and tragic what happened. But yeah, it's worth a watch. But like I say, the way it was shot, I found it quite hard to watch a film like that way. And then I watched The Brutalist as well, which I gave 4 stars. Really good. I don't think it's as great as what I mean. I think that it never won Best Picture, but it's probably, maybe it's lost a wee bit of favour. I think one of the biggest compliments I can give it is like it doesn't feel as long as what it is.
Right.
It
Okay.
moves along. I think it's split into 2 parts. Well, kind of 3, because they do a wee epilogue. They do like part 1, part 2, and then an epilogue. I think part 1 is better than part 2. I found that when he first comes to America and he's trying to get into America, like, I guess chase that American dream to an extent. I found that better. I think the pacing was better as well in the first part. In the second half, I don't think the second half. I think if the film had been, if the first half had been the film all the way through in terms of like how good it was, I probably would have gave it 5 stars. But it lost me a wee bit in the second half of the film. And again, not bad in any way, but just I probably was a wee bit clock watching a wee bit more than I was in that first part. But good, Adrian Brody probably not necessarily deserved, but probably worthy of his Oscar win. Although his speech was fucking, excuse my language, just so self indulgent, man. Like I was just like, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like, and I'm not all for like I'm not all for like people making like big political statements when they get their Oscars, but I feel like he made a film about immigrants, because he's a Hungarian immigrant to America, and he's from a family of immigrants as well. And he didn't mention it once in his speech. You'd kind of feel like, especially with how like the moment in America they're going around everybody's houses and just chucking people at their houses and stuff. That ice bunch of knobs are going to be like, you'd think he'd have said something, but it was all just about him, and then like the music come on and he's like, no, cut the music, like this isn't my first rodeo and all that, and just like kept talking for about another. He must have been on for about 4 minutes, like talking.
Right.
And I was just like, I think what is annoying about that is like there's other people who were on earlier for smaller awards, and like when they were on, like they put the music on and they cut the mic as well, so they don't even have a chance to keep talking, and then you get like someone who can just be like, "Oh no, I'll just take up this space and just talk about myself for 4 minutes." It just wasn't my favourite speech of the night.
Get him off.
Yeah.
Sausage.
So, yeah, So that's it. That's the films I've watched. Not really watched any other than Great British Menu. I've not watched any TV. But Daredevil starts this week.
Oh dear, I'm going to need to try
Get
and
on
find
it.
time
I
to
want to
watch
talk
that.
about it on Monday.
Wait, what day does it release?
Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember. Either tomorrow or
That's
Wednesday.
okay. That's okay. I should be able to then. I'll try and get it watched during the day.
It'd be good to talk about it. We could have a wee. I think they're releasing it like so many. I think is it just so many episodes a week or something like that as well, or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, see, I'm getting confused with Andor because they're doing like blocks of
Oh,
three, aren't they?
I think that's what I'm confusing it with as well. Actually, Andor's doing, which I quite like, because obviously the first season with Andor, just obviously, sorry to go off on one here. They they had little, I guess, subplots that were in 3 sections, weren't they? So
Yeah,
that'd be
like
good.
every three episodes were like interconnected, and it was like a movie basically. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Nice one. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you're on YouTube or Spotify. Please leave a like, leave a comment. Apparently that helps us. So like I said this at the start. Even if you didn't listen all the way through somehow, you switch off right now before I finish. Please leave a like and a comment. It helps us. We'll have links to our X, Discord, Twitch, all in the description. So please come and say hello, give us a follow, that'd be cool. Are you planning on streaming anything this week, Ryan?
Or maybe. I think I'm going to keep Skyrim to just YouTube, offline stuff, and then probably like Rivals and that. So I don't know. Maybe I think I'm going to check out Splitgate 2 at some point, and then I would like us all to get a wee game of something, but I just don't know what that we could all unite on.
Yeah, I think it's finding the time as well, isn't it? Because like when you've only got so much time to game and stuff. I'll stream this week. I'll either be Avowed or Marvels. And then I do need to finish getting my recordings of Gears up onto YouTube. And then I think the next thing I'm going to record is South by Midnight.
South by Midnight? I think I've heard of
Yeah,
that.
it's not out till April. If I can figure out a way to get both me and Amelia on voice chat for stream, probably not camera, but voice chat for stream, I might stream some of Split Fiction, which is a co-op, or I might record some of it. It's just two of us would have to be in this wee office. It's not very ideal for recording. Like there's quite a tight space.
Tweet.
Like a tiger. Anyway, thanks for listening. Take care. We'll see you another time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.